Oh my god, I'm so sorry about the mess. You see, I was hungry and I was like doing some work and I've been playing with my SH Figure Arts Spider-Man 2099. Here's Crystar as well. It's like, I should have done some cleaning. I know, but it's, yeah, just didn't have the time. It just, desk is real messy. You know what else is messy? This movie is a hot mess. That's right, I did this on purpose for the transition. Woo! The Happytime Murders is a movie from 2018. It is a raunchy comedy, and it takes place in this world where humans and puppets coexist with each other. And in this world, there was a show called The Happytime Murders that was a children's show with puppets and a live-action actress played by Elizabeth Banks. And then many years later, it turns out some of the cast members from that show are being murdered. So it's up to Detective Phil, private investigator who was once a cop and is also a puppet, and Melissa McCarthy, I forgot her character's name, and she's a cop, and they have to work together to figure out who is like doing all these murders, the Happytime Murders, if you will. Let's see, it's got Joel McHale in it. It's got that guy from The Office. I forgot who because I've never seen The Office. I just heard he was in The Office. It's not Steve Carell. It's a different guy. Let's see. And it also has puppets in it. So, you know, it's got that. And legitimately, I'm trying to think of like good things to say about this movie. It's really hard to. It really is, honestly. I just mainly kind of want to get to the bad stuff. Like I want to, like, I've been trying to like be more positive in some of these videos when I talk about it. Movies, like, okay, I'll talk about what I like. It's really hard with this one. I guess I'll talk about this one thing. Back when the trailer for this movie first came out, I watched it and I didn't think too much of it. I wasn't really analytical of trailers back then. I just kind of sat down, saw what I saw, and I thought like, oh, I guess the premise seems interesting, so I'll check it out. And let's see. Okay, so when I first heard about this movie, it was like described as like, it's like Who Framed Roger Rabbit, but with puppets instead of cartoon characters. And Who Framed Roger Rabbit is my favorite movie of all time. So I thought, back then, I thought, okay, that could be kind of good. I don't know, maybe we'll see. Then I saw the trailer and I thought like it was fine, you know. Like I remember like seeing people react to the trailer and all laughing at a specific joke, which I'll talk about later, but I don't really think I found it all that funny. But I was just like, you know, not all trailers are great, so maybe I'll check out like the movie when it actually comes out and see if it's better. Then I heard the reviews for the movie when it came out. It was not better, I guess, and I did not watch this in theaters. But a few years later, it came out on Netflix, and I thought to myself, okay, now that I have this YouTube channel, maybe I could like use this as a chance to talk about the, you know, like that movie, like make a video on it. So I went ahead and watched the movie for the first time on Netflix, and it was one of the worst viewing experiences I've ever had in my life. Like legitimately, the movie was so bad. It's not even that long of a movie, yet it felt like an eternity. And by the end, after I had written all my notes, and I had plenty to say about this movie and go ahead and record myself and do a video on it, but for some reason, I don't know. I guess the movie just took so much out of me that like I did not have the actual strength and energy to record myself and talk about this movie. I had no idea why. So I think in my mind, I just kind of like had the thought, maybe I don't actually feel like I have enough to say about the movie. Maybe that's what it is. So I canceled that video and I moved on to other stuff. And then I believe again last year, yes, I've tried to do a video on this movie twice. Last year, there was like I was like trapped in like not trapped, I shouldn't say that, like, you know, I was trapped. No, I was like there was like a little bit of like a snowstorm or something going on outside in my college dorm, and I was like, okay, classes are canceled, maybe I have time to do a video. And I thought, what should I do a video on? Then I saw Happytime Murders was on Netflix again, and I was just like, you know what, I want to do that video. Yeah, because like I do feel like I was remembering that I had things I wanted to say, but I was just like, okay, you know what, let's do that. So I went ahead and rewatched it. Same thing happened again. I had a lot more to say this time because like I don't know, like my feelings for the movie, like my like almost like basically hatred for the movie, like the awfulness that I felt just got bigger on my second viewing, and I was just like, I had to do a video on it, but again, it just took so much out of me that I could not physically find myself to like actually go ahead and like do the video. So it was canceled again. But then at the beginning of this year, I was just like, you know, I had seen some of these. I had been doing like videos so far on movies that I had watched before, but like was planning on doing a video before, but I just kind of kept pushing it off to the side. So that includes stuff like Son of the Mask, and the other video that I can't remember I did. What did I do? Chicken Little, that's right. Why did I forget I did that? I actually really like how that video turned out. I have bad memory sometimes, guys. But you know what I don't have bad memory on? This movie. Because when I thought, you know what? Screw it, I'm gonna go ahead and try again. Last time, baby, the Happytime Murders video. And did I rewatch it a third time? No, I did not. I don't think I could go through that again. But I still had my notes from like those two viewings, and I unfortunately still remember basically a lot from the movie. Unfortunately, I hate that I do, honestly, I really do. But you know, I was just like, I can't let this movie take a hold of me like this anymore. I'm gonna go ahead and just say everything I hate about it in this video. And then when I put out that post saying like, hey, new video coming soon, and I was hinting that it was gonna be this, I got sick. That's right, I just started feeling sick. I was having like a really bad headache and I was coughing a lot. It wasn't COVID, thankfully, but I don't remember what it was, honestly. But I was just not able to like record anything. And so that was like, I was feeling like that for like a solid week, really. And then like only recently, like how I've been like actually feeling better, like I've been able to like record some shorts for some stuff I'm sure you saw earlier. And it's like, so yeah, I guess maybe the universe didn't try to stop me from talking about Happytime Murders, but I'm feeling better now and I'm gonna try again. And if I get sick again afterwards, let's just hope I at least finish this video before that happens. But Happytime Murders, I'm gonna talk about this movie and why I hate it so much. Okay, first of all, the big thing about this movie is that it is a raunchy comedy. It's a world where puppets have like sex and say like swear words and do like cocaine and, well, not cocaine, they have their own type of drug, but you know, they do drugs basically, and you know, they make sex jokes and they swear a lot. That's like the main two things. They swear and have sex, but still, that's where a lot of the comedy comes from. And it's hard to really like say what I hate about some comedy and some movies, because it is very subjective. I could just say, hey, I don't find this funny. Another person can go, well, I find it funny. But yeah, I guess all I can really say is I don't find the comedy in this movie funny. And like, don't get me wrong, I'm not against that type of humor, that kind of like raunchy, like sexual humor or like swear-based humor. Like, no, I think that kind of stuff can be funny, especially as like a fan of like South Park and things like that. Like, I can find it funny. The problem is with this movie, I guess for me, is that like, I just don't like the way the jokes are like, or no, it's not even the way the jokes are, I just don't like that that's the only jokes in the movie. There are barely any like, I guess, clever or like funny jokes to me personally. It's always just like, oh, the puppet said the F word, or oh, this puppet be like, you know, doing it with another girl puppet, you know? It's like, or like, you know, stuff like that. It's like, it's just like when that's the only types of jokes, it just kind of gets old. And like, if it wasn't funny the first time, it's not gonna be funny the 80th time. And yeah, it's just like, oh my god, I don't think I laughed a single time in this movie, except once, but I'll save that for later. But like, yeah, I did not laugh like at all in the movie, but maybe I could sort of forgive it if at least the story is good. It's not good. So this movie is a mystery, you know, right? There's like a crime they gotta solve. The Happytime Murders. Puppets are being murdered, and they gotta figure out who's doing it. But the thing is, I don't really think the mystery is like that well told. Like, okay, so we see that puppets are being murdered. Okay, so like that could be like an interesting thing. We gotta find the clues and figure out who's doing it. But the thing is, whenever like Phil and Melissa McCarthy go to places to find clues, I feel like they barely actually find anything, and they just kind of like goof around and go like, oh hey, we're just gonna be like, you know, doing some bad jokes here, and then like talking to like some of the suspects or like the, you know, the puppets and whatnot, but they don't actually learn anything. They like, the mystery doesn't really feel like it progresses. Like, we don't find any clues or anything, or nothing that from what I remember. And like I said, I do remember quite a bit of this movie. Unfortunately, I hate it. Why can't my bad memory work on this? But like, yes, they barely find any clues in any of the locations they go to. They just kind of like mess things up, and then you know, all this just I don't know, man. They just don't find clues, is what I'm saying. And it feels like it's like not an interesting mystery. Okay, the puppetry though. This movie has puppets in it, and seeing as this movie's directed by the Brian Henson, son of Jim Henson, and the director of Muppet Treasure Island and Muppet Christmas Carol, which I think have great puppetry in them, is the puppetry in this movie good? I mean, it's not terrible, but it's like nothing really that impressive. Like, I don't know, there's nothing like really in it that makes me go like, oh, okay, that looks actually kind of impressive. Like, that puppetry was pretty like interesting, like, or like well done. It's just like, no, it's just kind of like the usual, like, oh, you just got like out of a puppet talking to like another human. I've seen that kind of stuff before. the designs themselves are also just kind of like fine. Like they just feel like watered down versions of like puppets that I've or Muppets that I've seen in previous things, or maybe it's the fact that they don't have really that, and many of them don't have interesting personalities besides that, I don't know, sexual humor or something, or the fact that they swear, that it just doesn't feel like, you know, like they themselves are interesting. So therefore, when I look at them, I'm like, I'm not interested in this. And like I said before, the puppetry is just kind of like decent. It's like the bare minimum of what you could do with the puppets. Just kind of just have them there, just talking, interacting with the humans, and I guess have sex with like, you know, like other puppets. And at one point there's a female puppet who like shows her to Joel McHale, and it's, they had to create that, so you know, I guess effort was put into that. Ew. So another thing about the story that I don't think was really that well developed was Melissa McCarthy's character in this, where like there's like a thing, they say that like Melissa McCarthy and Phil were like cops together, they were like partners, but then after like Phil like failed to like successfully like take down like a puppet, you know, right, and he like shot the wrong person, and then like Melissa McCarthy got hurt, she had to get a part of herself, I think it was like her liver or something, I don't know, it doesn't matter, replaced, but the only hospital that was nearby was for puppets only, so now she has like a puppet liver, and so she feels like, she's all like, I don't get it, what am I anymore, I'm not even fully human anymore, I'm like part puppet, and I'm like, girl, it's just a liver. It's like really not that interesting. It's like they kind of make a big deal of it. Like everyone makes like Joe McHale makes fun of her for that. It's like, what are you, like some part puppet now? It's like, bro, it's just like a liver. Just shut up. Which like oh yeah, I forgot to mention this. This movie does have slight hints of like a metaphor for racism, because the puppets here are discriminated against by, because you know they're puppets, and it's like, it's really also not that interesting. It's like yeah, it's just that, it's just like, oh hey, they're kind of made fun of and they're seen as like lower class, I guess, or like not respected, which is like, you know, it's like, I mean, I guess it's like the bare minimum you can have for like, oh, it's like a racism metaphor, but it's like you're not the X-Men, guys. You're not doing anything clever here, okay? You're not even Who Framed Roger Rabbit, which also has hints of like the cartoons being like a metaphor for like racism and discrimination in the 40s, where I feel like that one is actually a lot more interesting. Here it's just kind of like, the bare minimum, and it's like, it's just kind of there to like add like some more like depth, I guess, to the movie, but like, doesn't help it. It's still a dumb movie. It's still stupid. Yeah, that's like another thing that's barely like developed. It's just that idea that the puppets are supposed to be like the discrimination against the puppets is a metaphor for racism and whatnot. And like also, what is the solution to the big mystery? Like, who did it? Well, it turns out that Phil accidentally shot like the father of the villain, who was the one who was causing like all the murders. I don't know why I was stuttering there. I'm very sorry. But like now this daughter is grown up, and she like basically wanted revenge, and then she realized, oh, she actually liked killing. So yeah, it was her. It was that. I don't know. Just also not that interesting. Like I said, the mystery itself is just like not well developed. To like, when I found out that was like the big reveal that, oh, she did it. Just like this one character who showed up like for like a few seconds in the beginning, and later had sex with Phil, and later we saw her, you know, yeah, it's like, oh, okay, I guess that's the answer. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know, guys, I really don't know. It's like, man, I hate this movie so much. Like, just even like trying to talk about it now, it feels somewhat nice, because it feels like I'm basically like dumping all this trauma and like just finally letting it out, finally letting all this stuff that I've had bogged like in my mind about this movie, just finally letting it out. Feels good, but at the same time, I'm like hearing myself now. I'm like, oh my god, I forget that just this movie. I remember why it took so much out of me, because like so much of it is just so not good or even that interesting. And I think that's a big thing that makes this movie like kind of worse. It's just like, it's not even like funny bad, I guess. Like if this movie was gonna be bad, at least make it interestingly bad. Here it's just like, no, all I could say is like all the sex and like swear jokes are not funny to me. The mystery is not good. The puppetry is not even nice, which is like, that in itself also feels like so lame about this movie. Can you at least have like good puppetry? Brian Henson, I know you've done good. I don't know. I should probably like have looked more into like what went into the. I think what I did do a little bit of research into this movie. I don't know. I said I think I did, but like apparently this was based on like some like improv thing they did with puppets. But like I don't know. Still, it doesn't feel like it's that good or even that interesting of information. like, I don't know. I'm not even saying the fact that doing something like raunchy with puppets isn't a good idea. Like, I like Avenue Q, the musical. I think that's pretty good, you know? So it's like, but this ain't no Avenue Q. This is the Happytime Murders, and it's not good. Hey, didn't I mention earlier that there was like one joke that I laughed at? And this is for both viewings, both the first time I saw this and the second time. The only joke I ever laughed at, I'm gonna describe it to you guys. And you're gonna go like, that doesn't really sound all that funny. And you're right, I don't think it is that funny, but I think it's because like this movie is so deprived of any like actual like humor that like actually made me chuckle or make any form of sound or movement from my body. That this one joke that was just like the most very like decently funny enough joke, like made me laugh like genuinely, and it made me feel the only joy that I had in the movie. It was when Joel McHale, like after they had solved like the mystery, Joel McHale played like this big like FBI guy who like is like, hey, you should stop solving this mystery. I'm the one solving it, or something like that. And so like after they solve the mystery, he comes in driving, and then within his car you can hear the song "Call Me Maybe," and then he just comes out, and then the song stops. And yeah, the joke is that he was listening to Call Me Maybe, you know, hey, I just met you, but this is, you know, that song, but this is crazy, you know, all that stuff. Yeah, it's like, I know, it does not sound that funny, but like, I don't know. To me, it was just like, I thought it was just kind of funny enough to the point where I at least like cracked a smile and chuckled and laughed, you know? It's like, so yeah, that was the only joke I found funny in the movie, and it's not even that great of a joke. The Happytime Murders is a movie that left me empty both times I've seen it, and it made me feel like my soul had left my body, and I just felt like so out of it, like a viewing experience that just left me kind of depressed by the end, by just how bad it was, which I know might sound like an exaggeration to some people, but like that's kind of the best way I can describe it. It's just like it just took something out of me. It might be because like I kind of think the idea could have been interesting, honestly, could have been good. Like, I don't know, doing like a Who Framed Roger Rabbit-esque style story, but like with puppets, and like, I don't know, having like something like fun, or like, you know, it could have at least been somewhat fun, you know? Could have had at least pretty good puppetry, or some really good puppetry, or at the very least, could have been somewhat funny, but it wasn't any of those. The mystery wasn't good, the comedy was absolutely terrible, honestly, and the puppetry was just kind of okay. And yeah, both times I watched the movie, just having it giving me this feeling of like, why am I subjecting myself to this terrible movie? The only other movie that has made me feel like that is like, I guess, Son of the Mask, which I talked about not too long ago, and Suicide Squad 2016, which in that video I said was my least favorite movie of all time. And Happytime Murders gives it a run for its money. No, really, it really does. This, in some sense, I could even consider this my least favorite movie of all time. I could do like a little battle between the two and find out which one is my least favorite movie, but honestly, I don't want to rewatch this movie anymore. Like, twice was enough. No, like once was enough. Like, even that is too much, if I'm being honest. So yeah, both these movies, I hate them. So I'll still say Suicide Squad is my least favorite movie, but Happytime Murders gives it is at least a top second choice, and like it gives it a run for its money. But like, it feels good to have this video done, honestly. Yeah, after like those 2 attempts of like trying to get a video done, but it never happening, and then after I got sick trying to do this one again, it just feels good to finally have finished it, and just like, it feels like a huge burden has been lifted off of me. Like I have my soul returned to my body, and I can rest, and I can no longer think about this stupid piece of garbage movie, The Happytime Murders. I'm glad to have you out of my life. You're terrible. But yeah, also I don't ever want to see you know, like a puppets thing like that ever anymore. Oh yeah, and like I just realized I just forgot to mention what that one joke from the trailer was. Oh yeah, it was like the Phil and the other puppet having sex, and his jizz is like the silly string. Yeah, that's what it was. I hate that scene so much. It's terrible.